Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Kirkpatrick, let me just add my condolences for the loss of your brother. And let me just say to all of you, in listening to the exchange you had with Senator Ernst, it's appalling, frankly, that they can retaliate against you for really doing the right thing for our country and coming forward with the focus on making sure that our veterans are served based on things like hearsay, when you have at heart what we want to have in our VA, the best to serve those who have served us, and that you, the people who have done this to you, are still merrily on their jobs. And so I think the accountability piece is the key to all of this. People who aren't focusing on caring for our veterans, and those who, we need to reward people like you who want to serve our veterans. And those people who retaliated against you should be fired. And I think the problem we've seen with all that we've heard of the deaths of our veterans and our veterans who have suffered, there have been very few, if anyone, held accountable for it. And so within the organization, it seems like the message being sent is, hey, keep covering everything up because don't worry, you'll keep your job. If you come forward, you're going to lose your job, which is the absolute wrong message. And so, Mr. Chairman, I hope that we make sure that the legislative tools are there and that we hold people accountable. So I just want to thank you all for being here and for your courage and what you've done. I also wanted to follow up just the one thing that many of us have focused on here is where's the priority? We have not even had a permanent inspector general for the VA since December of 2013. It's been 631 days. So if we look at where priorities are, it seems to me that that's being put low on the totem pole when we won't even put a permanent individual in that position. And many of us on this committee, and I'm going to do it again today, have called on the president because he needs to appoint that individual and say, this is a priority for our country. And I would like to ask all of you, what would you like to see rather than the inspector general? Obviously, we need to get someone there with the importance of it, of a permanent position, and back that person up. But once those recommendations are made and the investigation's done, what more teeth can we give that process so it's not just turfed back to the same group of people in the VA where there may be a good investigation done, but nothing is followed up on it. So I wanted to get your thoughts on what could we do, ideas you have for us to make sure there's more teeth in that process. I'll turn it over whoever wants to go first.
That's what we're here for today, is to get some teeth in the process, because like you've all stated, we continue to talk and we all know there's a problem. However, they give their answers and then we give them 3 more months and then some new whistleblowers come back and we do it all over again. The time for action is now.
Right.
We're here to help. I think being part of the process, the nice thing about it is you have some frontline VA employees here. I was a grunt in the United States Marine Corps, you know, and I know both
Semper
of them.
Fi.
And I know that with some of these committees and stuff, such as Secretary McDonald when he did the My VA, a lot of these people that he selected, don't get me wrong, it's great, all these generals and stuff are there, but I've never seen a general have to use the VA for health care. I've never seen the general drive 150 miles and have an appointment canceled when he had to take a day off of work to feed his family. And no disrespect to the general and his service at all, but there needs to be more frontline people. There needs to be more grunts. There needs to be more, you know, enlisted people involved in the process.
We need they need to understand what's happening on the ground.
They do, ma'am, and what the problem is they're not listening to us. We're talking, and we're all about, you know, respecting the chain of command. However, when there's a breakdown in the chain of command, that's where you all come in, and that's where we need your help. And I agree with you. We need a permanent IG. You know, it needs to happen. But from the grassroots part of it, we allow them to have their own investigations. You know, the VA gets to investigate itself, and I'm sorry to laugh, but it's a sad joke. You know,
right.
we have an audio tape of them admitting 5 suicidal vets walked out of my hospital right after I came forward. Someone should have said, you know what, we messed up. They didn't. They destroyed me when I told the truth. It played on CNN, you know, with Jake Tapper. It's just amazing. So how much more evidence do we need on these people before we're able to take action? And that's why I hope y'all are upset, and I hope you're able to take action, because it's enough. It's enough, you know, today.
I am upset, and I know that many on this committee are upset.
One of my recommendations in the statement that I provided, I think once the OSC concludes that a person retaliated, that they give them the authority to fire that person because it's seen that the VA doesn't want to fire anybody. Another thing that Mr. Brandon Coleman had touched on, I requested through the Freedom of Information Act to see how many directors, deputy directors, and associate directors are actually veterans working in the VA. 76 out of 479 are only veterans that are in executive positions for the VA, and that's a problem. I stopped getting care at the VA for one reason 3 years ago. Once I came forward, I knew what type of behavior I was dealing with it. So the care that I earned, I stopped going there because I know if they accessed my record or they did anything, that they would not be held accountable. But I think the IG should be recommendations. Maybe they should have the authority. They found somebody that's found misconduct, that they should be the ones issuing disciplinary actions. One thing I've noticed and through all this ordeal is the VA has failed to hold people accountable. And if that identity does not want to hold people accountable, then maybe we need to move forward with the IG and the OSC to start holding people accountable. Thank you.
I'll say this. Bottom line is the VA is going to have to start telling the truth. And somehow we've got to make them do that. Their PR machine puts out more propaganda than the Republic of North Korea. I'm serious about that. And you know, the problem with that is they're not accepting any responsibility. It's still going on. The facility I work at told me there are after I came forward, no access to care problems. But in March of this year, I had a consult put in for my yearly eye appointment. They scheduled me an appointment in June. I didn't even know about it. Didn't offer me any kind of outside fee-based. Put in another one in May. They had canceled the one in June because the doctor had quit, moved it to August. Still nothing. I called down to the clinic and I said, are y'all not going to offer me a fee-based service or something? They said, well, we don't do that. We don't do the choice program. I said, look, you don't know who I am, but I'm very familiar with this stuff. I said, that can't be right. Now, I will give credit when I called the chief of staff and the director. They got my appointment and they said they were going to correct that. But it's still going on. It's still going on, and they're still putting out these numbers, and they say, well, we have 97% new leadership. Yeah, you moved this director from this hospital to this hospital and this one to here to here. That's the kind of numbers they put out. They're very misleading.
Unfortunately, I'm hearing those stories from my constituents also.
Well, being the only civilian here, I don't really have a lot of personal insight here, but since I've learned a lot about this since my brother died, it seems very apparent that there is a lack of transparency, accountability, and in a way, it's like the ugly side of war. Almost the ugliest side is, you know, the people who return from it broken. They've put their life on the line. They've paid the highest cost. And, you know, they should be given everything from this country. I mean, to hear 22 people, and that's probably way underestimated, it's outrageous. I mean, it seems like the VA behaves as if it's above the law, and it's unacceptable. And personally, I got to say, you know, this committee is really the only entity out there that has taken my brother's case seriously. And I just want to let you guys know on behalf of my family, we're eternally grateful for that. But, you know, I hope at the same time that there is some, you know, some power that you guys hold where, you know, some change can be made here. You know, a culture change or something. I mean, people's lives are on the line and it's like it gets swept under the rug. You don't hear about it yet. every day, people are dying, people are suffering. So I don't really have anything specific to say, but I think it's worth pointing out.
What you said today has been heard, and it's been loudly heard, so we appreciate your being here.